live. This is KCTV5 News this morning.
First and goal. Mahomes flings it. It's there! Hardman! Jackpot! Kansas City!
He is the best. He is the standard. For Michael Jordan wins it again.
And I'm proud of my guys, man. This is awesome. It's legendary.
So is it a dynasty now?
Yeah, it's the start of one. We're not done.
And how about it? We get a chance to do it 3 times in a row. How do you get excited for that, baby?
Hey, on 3, 1, 2, 3. How about those Chiefs?
How about those Chiefs? The destination to dynasty begins tonight. We are giving you a live look right now at Arrowhead Stadium, where we are just under 14 hours away from the beginning of a new season.
And tonight's game features the team Kansas City beat in order to even play in that Super Bowl as the Chiefs take on the Baltimore Ravens tonight in an AFC Championship rematch. That kickoff is scheduled for 7:20.
Happy game day, Kansas City. We thank you for joining us here at 5 a.m. I'm Carolina Cruz.
And I'm Julia Avery. I'm here for Bill Hurlbrink, who won't be in studio with us this morning because he's out there live at Arrowhead this morning. And
Bill, we are so excited for this new season. It could really be a historic one. So are you ready for all of that excitement from those highlights?
Yeah, from hearing all the highlights there from the top of the show, it just gets me pumped up and ready to go. As a matter of fact, I did a little poetry to relay here at 5 a.m. Are you ready for this? Because here we go. Count them with me. 1 Lombardi, 2 Lombardis, 3 Lombardis, 4. Is that enough for Chiefs Kingdom? No. We want more, and the journey for that back-to-back-to-back, that three-peat, it begins today here at Arrowhead Stadium. Guys, we already pulled in here about 45 minutes to an hour ago. There was already lines of cars through the gate that we came in, about 5 or 6 rows deep of people with tents put up, with tailgate stuff ready to go. Kansas City's not playing around. It's game day here, and we're ready to be a big part of it for you all day long here on KCTV5.
Bill, you asked if it is enough. It is never enough.
Never.
And yeah, like Mean Girls, right? The limit does not exist for us here in Chiefs Kingdom. Well, Bill, you're going to be joining us here as we count down to kickoff for all of those fans.
But first, we need to send it over to First 15 meteorologist Greg Bennett because people going to the game have questions.
I know.
What's going to happen?
I know. This has been a big deal. We've been tracking days in advance now, warning you first about it, and we have officially put in a first warn for this evening due to the chance of shower and even thunderstorms now right through the metro and continuing on into the late evening time frame. The timing of this has actually altered slightly, so we are going to get into more of the nitty-gritty details on that in just a few. The good news is once we move on into Friday, man, that storm system dries out and we have some very mild conditions to look forward to, and even morning lows into the weekend dropping into the 40s. We could actually see some wind chill values moving into Sunday morning. It's something that we're tracking as well. With that being said, let's talk about out the door right now. You don't have to worry about umbrellas, but I would grab them before you head out the door for the end of the day. Low 60s right now off around the actual airport, but we've got some 50s out there closer to around Richmond, 61 to Olathe, Paola coming in at 59. We're just getting some feedback off of our radar system right now. That is not wet weather that you're seeing, but the showers and storms are just off to our north and west. I'll be tracking that moment by moment for you in our next main First Warn 5 weather forecast. Let's get out to those roadways, though. There have been some accidents. Julia, what's the update?
Well, right now I am tracking a crash here. This is 435 in the northbound direction right at 23rd Street. So this is on the eastern side of that 435 loop over on the Missouri side. And as you can see, it is starting to slow down traffic just a little bit because 2 lanes are blocked right there. On our traffic maps, though, it's not showing up as too much of a backup. Still just 5:04 in the morning. So we don't have all of that morning commute being impacted right now. But I'm going to keep my eye on this throughout the morning rush. Across the map, I'm not seeing any other issues to warn you about right now. All of the construction projects are finished that were overnight, and no crashes besides that one that I'm monitoring right now. But we want to get back out to Bill Hurlbrink because it is the hot topic of the day today. He is live out at Arrowhead. Bill, you said it's electric. You were using Travis Kelce's words.
Oh, yeah, it's electric out here, the atmosphere. I mean, Greg always talks about, energy in the atmosphere, that leads to thunderstorms. It just feels electric. There's something hanging in the air all over Kansas City today. I felt it when I woke up this morning and made my way into work, and I think you're going to feel it too once you get up and get going here, because it's still a little bit early in the morning. But a lot of these people are already here this morning. They're already getting ready to go for their tailgates. They're lined up outside of the gates here at Arrowhead, and I want to get you over to the man of the people right now. He's been amongst these folks since all the pre-games, or since all the preseason games, KCTV5's the people's champ, Nathan Brennan, out at Gate 5 here this morning. Nathan, how are those folks getting ready to wake up and throw a heck of a party before game time?
Oh, well, Bill, those are very, very kind words to call me the people's champ. First off, I really do appreciate that. And I'm not going to try and get too excited here this morning because we are here with some of those tailgaters. A lot of them are sleeping. I know I can get very animated sometimes. I can be very energetic. I learned that from the Greg Bennett School of Journalism. But I do want to go ahead and give you guys what we're seeing here early this morning. Like Bill mentioned, we're here at Gate 5. You can see some of these grills are already getting set up. We're ready for people to start, getting their morning started, maybe making some breakfast. But I do want to point out too, guys, that so many people are already here. We're probably talking well over a dozen of these vehicles are already here this morning, and this is really nothing new. There have been times in the past that these cars have actually extended into the roadway. They've had to open those gates early, but I do want to point out those gates will open at 2:30 this afternoon. Plenty of people here, and we actually just spoke with a fan who's made this his yearly tradition.
We've been doing it for 20 years, so it's just a routine now. Wife thinks I'm insane, crazy for doing it, but so probably so. She's probably right.
Well, I'm going to say that the wife is always correct. She is always right. I'm not going to call him insane, maybe a little bit crazy, but that's okay. I can get a little bit more animated over here this morning because we're a little bit further from some of those cars. Want to give you guys a reminder, if you are headed over this way, maybe to Gate 5, maybe some of those other gates, this is still going to be the case when you head over this way. No pedestrian access prior to gate opening. Of course, guys, people are here. We're tailgating. We're getting ready for some Chiefs football, but you cannot even walk some of those wagons past these gates until 2:30 when they open, and the gates ultimately open into the stadium. But we're having some fun this morning. I promise you that during the morning, some of these fans are going to be waking up. I can get a little bit more loud, a little bit more eccentric, but for now, we're going to try and keep it quiet, make sure and let these guys sleep. I'll toss it back to you guys.
I love that you're being so considerate of those fans, Nathan, when we know full well that you will be joining the Rowdy Bunch here in just a couple of hours, and especially during game time. Well, Bill is also joining us. He is just a few yards away from where Nathan is, right outside of the gates. And Bill, we know that we are just so excited for the game tonight. So just update us here on what we could see in play.
So some of the new players, the Chiefs were able to add a lot of offensive weapons for Patrick Mahomes here during the offseason. But unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see one of them take the field today. Marquise Hollywood Brown, of course, he's been officially ruled out for tonight's game. If you remember, he went down with that first preseason game with a shoulder injury, but he could be ready to go as early as next week against another key matchup, that one against the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, thankfully, Brown is the only player that won't be available. 8 other players were listed on the latest injury report. That includes defensive tackle Chris Jones and long snapper James Winchester. But the good news is all of those folks fully participated in practice and are expected to play tonight. Now, again, fans won't see Hollywood Brown. We will get our first glimpse of first-round draft pick Xavier Worthy. The former Texas Longhorn set the record at the NFL Combine. You remember that? He ran a 4.21 40-yard dash. Folks, that is fast. That speed has garnered sky-high expectations this offseason before even playing a legit NFL game. So KCTV5's Marlia Campbell is going to be joining us here a little bit later in the show, and she's going to be talking about how the coaches are really expecting Xavier Worthy to really step it up and how they're expecting him to play in today's season opener. So there is a lot to look forward to tonight, guys. There is a lot of storylines that are kind of woven through, whether it's just what happened this offseason, maybe it's even tying in some things from last season and the season before as the Chiefs now start this path towards a three-peat.
They need to tie some stuff in because whatever they were doing they were doing it right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, why don't mess with the right formula.
Exactly.
Well, there's a lot of fans, including one of the infamous fans, a super fan that will not be attending that game tonight. That's because Xavier Babudar, better known as Chiefsaholic, is facing some legal troubles.
Yeah, and you've probably seen the stories up until this point, or maybe you've seen the documentaries of this crazy saga. Well, today is actually sentencing day for Babudar's plethora of bank and credit union robberies.
So KCTV5's Joe Hennessy is joining us live right now outside of the federal courthouse steps in downtown Kansas City. Looking ahead this morning, and you've actually seen him in court before, Joe.
Yeah, we were here back in February for that plea hearing, a very intimidating figure. I was telling everybody in the newsroom when I got back, you know, he's a lot bigger in person than you think. So intimidation was incredibly real with all of these unfortunate innocent bank employees. So the man known for normally wearing that wolf mask at Kansas City Chiefs games going to be in handcuffs this morning right here at the federal courthouse. In court documents, prosecutors are wanting extensive response from the courts here. They want at least 20 years for him for the chaos that he created back in 2022. He also has to pay more than $532,000 in restitution and forfeit property involving his crime, including a signed Patrick Mahomes painting. He admitted to laundering proceeds through area casinos as well and online gambling. He pleaded guilty to 1 count of money laundering, 1 count of transporting stolen property across state lines, and 1 count of bank robbery in a separate case filed in Oklahoma. U.S. Attorney Teresa Moore wrote after his hearing in February, his violent crime spree traumatized bank employees and victimized financial institutions in 7 states. Babudar tried concealing hundreds of thousands of dollars to gamble online and at casinos, but the odds, they caught up with him. Today's sentencing hearing set for 9:30 this morning, where the government side of thing, again, hoping for at least 20 years. Babudar's attorney, who we'll be hearing from in our next half hour, is hoping that because of taking responsibility back in February, they decrease it to 10 years, but we will wait and see. Reporting live, Joe Hennessy, KCTV5 News.
And Joe, you mentioned the irony of the fact that he's doing this today of all days. It's almost like the legal system knew and did this on purpose.
Symbolic, maybe.
Thanks, Joe. Greg, over to you.
All right, friends, switching gears here. We've got heat, we've got humidity, and moving towards the end of the day, a first warn in place, tracking for shower and thunderstorms coming up in your next First Warn 5 weather forecast.
And we're live out at Arrowhead this morning, right from Founders Plaza. And head here in just a few minutes, we're going to show you how Kansas City leaders are making sure Kansas City has its best face on game day.
People are amazing. The city is amazing, and it's everywhere it's red.
Did you hear a little bit of that accent? The Chiefs go international. Coming up next, we are speaking with some members of Chiefs Kingdom who are making their first ever visit to Kansas City.
This is KCTV5.